when you're leaving and when you're going, you're coming, you're going. Hey? Say aloha when they're making money. They're making the big aloha. Oh, both hands are rolling money. Oh, the big.
Hi, I'm Jim Flood, President, owner, manager, and spiritual advisor for TCI Cable of Muskegon. Not really. I'm Rob Schweifler.
And I'm Tom Schaub. And just when you thought it was safe to watch local television again, we're here with another look behind the scenes.
Aloha. Does that mean hello or goodbye? We've been to the Big Island, Mon. No, it's not Mon. It's
brother.
Oh, we've been to the island, brother.
Were you friends at first? Did you ever like each other?
Once. Well, I think the first guitar I had was a Beatle guitar, actually, that you wind it and it plays little metal tongues. It goes ding ding, and it played Hard Day's Night. Ding 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 ding. That was when I was a kid, probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. And that's how I've played ever since.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. Now I just use better equipment.
And I have seen the King Kahuna.
Don't miss Out of Control. Take sharpshooting lessons if you must. Out of Control is available for birthdays, anniversaries, picnics, grand openings, bar mitzvahs, lottery winners, advice, financial consultation, religious television programming, faith healing orgies, tarot reading, back rubs, sheep sitting, the Super Bowl, naughty television, your telephone conversations, beach parties, graduation parties, school dropout parties, divorce parties, toga parties, aluminum storm and screen installation parties, mud wrestling matches, suntan oil applications, wardrobe consultation, and lounge performances. Call Rob at 728-3331.
The first couple of gigs, then Sparky introduced me to tequila. That was a lot of fun. That was a very important part of Out of Control.
Tequila's his little Chihuahua dog.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, we were playing J.P. Allen's one night, just the three of us, and the front door was open. It must have been a warm summer night or something like that. The front door was open, and this big guy comes in and grabs like some maracas or something off the top of the speaker cabinet and starts shaking them around. And he was so big, nobody wanted to tell him not to. Shortly after that, he was getting his income tax refund, and he's going, "Boy, I want to buy a new car." And Sparky said, "No, you don't want a car. You want Rototoms."
How'd I get in?
Or why'd you get in?
Yeah. I always said that, none of the women in my life would ever let me hang around with these people. So I had to be in a band so I could hang out with these guys. We've got like a little mini musical legacy, almost all the Schaubs in our family.
Like the Partridge Family.
Musical, yeah. Like the Twisted Partridge Family.
Like the Osmond Brothers.
Yeah, I can see you guys at a bus.
The Muskegon's own Jackson's 5, the Schaubs.
I think I was Danny. We don't ever practice.
We never practice.
Or we always practice. It depends on how you look at it.
Where we practiced at the gigs.
We charge way too much money.
We got the best gigs. We always got the best gigs.
We always got great gigs. We made a lot of money at it. If you called us up and hired us, we said, well, this is what we play. Even if it's your wedding, we just kind of do what we do. It's really, we don't really know any other songs, and we don't know Color by World or anything like that. We'll bring a CD player, but so we didn't try. We weren't ever trying to make a CD. We didn't have a website, a promo kit, a business card, anything. Called us up, we quoted unbelievable amount of money, and if you said yes, we just shook our heads and showed up.
Our promo kit was we would buy you a drink.
I have to say, my biggest beef with the band. I mean, if I had to have
cut the dark side.
Cut.
we didn't talk about my hair enough. Because I worked really hard on my hair.
You look fantastic, and I remember
every gig.
I remember we had you setting up more near the front during a party in the park one time, and
I
Greg said something
appreciated
about, "You always put me way in the back, and here she is way up in the front, and why is that?" I said, "Because she's beautiful and you're ugly." Simple as that.
Well, it got to the point where you guys were setting up my equipment on a two-pack. Kathy would have all this space, and I'm sitting up here. Hey, man, what am I supposed to... Hey, use less drums.
Shut up,
Give
Greg.
Kathy more room.
You know, yeah, Sparky bought the equipment, and and we loaded it in his vans. Rob set the gigs, and got those set, and that's where it went. Jeff was, really, Jeff's the talent. I mean, Jeff, the guitar and the singing. I mean, he's the, that key front guy. Now, he needs us behind to fill out the whole thing. Greg was a lot of, he's entertainment, because Sparky's a typical bass guy. Long hair, silent, sitting over on the side, doing that kind of stuff. They're just classic characters, and I'm just the keyboard player off on the side doing what I do. I showed up, I played, I had a great time, and made enough money to pay for the beer.
Well, we used to get together and do some recording and some playing down in Jim Bialik, an old friend of ours. He's passed away now. Down in his basement. He lived up north of Muskegon. And we always tried to come up with a name for our band, and so we decided to call ourselves Out of Control. Well, at one point in time, somebody might have an idea for a song, or it would be kind of the leader of what was going on, arranging things. So we decided to call him Slick Pickle. So we were Slick Pickle and the Out of Control Band, and whoever was in charge of the song at the time was Slick Pickle, and the rest of us who happened to be there were the Out of Control Band. And I think that's where we really first started playing with more than one musician other than just Rob and I playing together.
Jeff was always Slick Pickle. It was a nose joke. I guess if you fast forward, it was I think 1983, and I was tending bar at Visconti's downtown, and I was paying the band that night. It was November 14th. It was the eve before opening day of deer season, and the place was packed with women, and Norm Cunningham and Kevin Allen were playing. And I'm paying them. I was tending bar, and I was paying them at the end of the night, and I'm counting the money. It's like, oh, this is all wrong. This is like way too much money. And no, that's right. I counted it out, and I quick did the math, Here I went in at 6, worked till about 3 in the morning, and didn't make as much money as these guys. They were coming in, playing from 9:30 to 1:30, drinking, having fun, acting big, and they were making more money than me. So I called up Jeff, and I said, hey, we need to start a band. And he had been playing out, doing some solo stuff at the Ship of Fools down in Grand Haven.
Yeah. What's it called now?
The Rosebud.
Rosebud, yeah. Back then it was the Ship of Fools.
So he had done a couple of solo gigs.
And I was doing some weddings and things like that, solo work. But.
Yeah, and doing a couple of things with Bobby Joe, too.
Yeah,
I think he'd done something.
Yeah, Bob Belfont.
So I called him up. I said, let's start a band. I can get us some gigs. And then I called John Alexson, one of the owners of the bar, and I said, yeah, I'm going to give you my 2 weeks notice. I'm going to quit tending a bar for you. I was working someplace else, 2 jobs and a paper route. But I said, but you can hire our band. What band's that? Well, Jeff and I. And, well, we're booked till New Year's. And I said, well, the night before Thanksgiving is open, so that's like a Friday. We'll play that night. You don't have anybody booked. And he said, well, okay. You know, and they're going to give us like $50, I think. Which was...
And drinks, which is worth $150 bucks.
Yeah, so we put together about 2 sets of music and went and did the gig. Of course, we had to play our 2 sets, and then when we were done with those, we had to start them up again and redo them because we didn't have 4 sets of music. So we did our show twice, you know.
Well, that actually ended up being then our first paying gig was the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. And that's kind of how our anniversary thing all came about. We decided to make that our anniversary night because that was the Wednesday, you know, the night before Thanksgiving. So for many years after that, we had anniversary parties on that day.
The music that we worked on really hard on, some of the great classics, we never would play. We would practice for hours and days, and in everybody's basement, and we would still play in Margaritaville. I couldn't understand, and all of us, see, we were in the back of the band, so we'd end up shaking our head going, what in the heck? If Ralph plays that tweet, 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 again, I'm about to lose my mind on Sesame Street. So we can sit back and talk by being in the back of the band.
Sunny day, chasing those clouds away. I'm on my way to where the end is sweet. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
Last resort, you know, I can't live without cable TV, so here I'll put my money in here and pay my cable bill.
I'm sorry, sir. We can't accept cash. Only check or credit card only. Thank you.
That's the old Rob and Jeff show. That's how we started out. I don't even want to think about how many years ago. 30 years ago.
Lo, these many years ago. I don't know, you know, first we had to get geared up. We had to get equipment. We had 2 acoustic guitars. Jeff had gotten a couple of microphones from Radio Shack, Rodeo Hacienda, and we got an amp from Matt Van Bimlen. That little 4-channel amp.
Little 4-channel amp with a little reverb thing on it that didn't quite work right. But
and we got some speakers for Bill Bishop.
No, remember I built those speakers, the rabbit cages.
Oh, yeah, the rabbit cages.
We called them the rabbit cages. They were. I bought some cheap speakers from Radio Shack from Rodeo Hacienda and mounted them in these big. Of course, I made them out of particle board, so they weighed 562 pounds apiece. But I hooked that all up, and that became our first PA.
Yeah, and then put for the grill, it was that expanded steel.
Yeah.
And they looked like, you know, something you'd make a rabbit hutch out of. So we called them the rabbit cages. And then for monitors, we had little 6x9 car speakers, Jensen Triax.
Oh yeah, the Jensen Triax and car speakers. Those are our monitor speakers.
Built little boxes for those and had those on a stand. Oh yeah, we had
the cheapest mics you could find at Rodeo Hacienda.
Yeah, we just had terrible, terrible gear.
But we had a lot of fun.
Got to get together, make it right. There ain't gonna be any more fights.
Well, Sparky didn't really play bass a lot, but he had one. So
We made him a bass player.
So we made him our bass player.
One good turn deserves another. I joined the band and I answered an ad in the paper. It said, wanted bass player with truck. Send picture of truck.
Yeah, as I recall, the G-Man, we were playing down at J.P. Allen's, and he came up one night and said, "I'm playing drums in your band." And we were too scared to say no, so he became our drummer. And
and like Sparky, not being a bass player, Greg wasn't a drummer either. He just, wanted to be one. So he became one. And I don't think he had the skills to start, but he
does he have them yet?
Well,
I'm not sure.
He's got a drum set.
He's still got a drum set, so he still qualifies.
This is Sparky's drum kit. Every bass player wants to be a drummer, and every drummer wants to be a bass player. So I'm just jamming on this kit.
Can you get all of us in on that right now with Sparky? No? Don't. Just get him.
Why you got just him right now? Thanks.
Oh, I'm ready for my close-up.
Yeah, that's boy, it's all coming back to me now.
We eventually ended up with this great big bag full of all kinds of different percussive instruments, and we would hand them out to people in the crowd, and everybody would be banging on anything.
Here, I remember one time we played Bobby's on the beach, and we would do Nicky Nicky Hoy. And Greg would do a little interpretive dance, and he was up on the railing of the balcony.
30 feet.
30 feet up in the air from the cement ground up there.
Yeah, doing a hula dance.
And never fell.
Remember one time you were dancing on a table up at the freaking pier and the table broke. They wanted us to pay for it. One thing Greg could do was put a lampshade on his head and start a party.
Yeah.
Get the party going. He was just a ton of fun to hang out with. It's like, hey, we don't care if you can play or not. Hang out with us. This is fun. Tom bought a new keyboard, and one of the sample patches on it was Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. And he'd put that on, and then Greg would do his little ballerina thing. That was worth the price of admission.
Oh, yeah. We had a tutu that we carried with us.
It was a
4-4.
It was a 4-4. Yeah, my sister Sue made that.
Yeah.
People in the front, stand back, please. We caution everyone not to try this at home. This should only be done by professionals. And please, no wagering.
Isn't he lovely? He's been a fragile thing of beauty since the day he was born.
Let no one say that Out of Control lacks depth.
That was a little teapot right there. He'd be good at rhythmic gymnastics.
I remember we were doing a gig at the lake shore, and this was after Greg quit drinking. And for some reason, I don't know, but I was picking him up and I was driving. But he wasn't drinking anymore. And we get about halfway there. He goes, "Oh, we gotta go back. I forgot something." "What'd you forget?" "Well, I had some bottled water I was gonna bring." I go, "Greg, if you can drink Long Island out of a beer they got water at the bar, Greg.
I was doing the announcements at Summer Celebration, and I used to do this a little bit because I had to change my clothes before I went on stage. Be there all day and all crummy. So I go talk to the girls under the tent. Go, "Anybody want to help me with my sponge bath?" So I come off stage, and the cameraman follows me off, and then these two girls grab me and they sit me down on the stage. And like they got buckets with water and they're gonna give me my sponge. So then this Sammy the pig, what's Sammy's last name? I can't remember. But he's like 6'5", burly guy. He comes out in a dress, you know, in a slinky dress, comes from behind me, and he's got a sponge toilet cleaner thing. He starts giving me a bath.
Got much money, so she is also growing cold. Well, the president comes on the TV to tell her what she's gonna get. She turns him right up, he hasn't kept a promise. Where is our something that escapes me, something I don't quite understand. What the Constitution that means by freedom for every man. Everyone is listening to this song, feels the sadness instead of gladness.
Well, my name is Warren and I'm a nerd. All the fellows in the band say I'm a four-letter word. 5'9" with light brown hair. I got skid marks in my underwear. Computer technology's what I like. I got a 486, but I ride a bike. Took the SAT in the 2nd grade. All the people said, Warren,
Well, you got it made.
a shooter. You could take me home and treat me like a Buddha. But your boyfriend there, face all snotty, wants to kick my ass, but it better learn karate. Yeah. Bring it down here.
It was always really about the party, you know. If the band's having a good time, the audience goes, well, geez, I must be having a good time. They're having a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of our fans are either old, have gone, or divorced. But they're still there, and that's really cool. It's really cool.
God, that was touching.
That was.
God.
I think I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry.
No.
It calls for a group hug.
I don't do that anymore.
I swear she was 21.
She learned that. She learned that lesson after about
It turned
40
into
times.
a grope hug. Is what it was.
Yeah.
A group hug.
Yeah,
It's a
Kathy,
grope
we do
hug.
this before every gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
I said play something good, but I just realized we don't know that one.
I jammed with those guys for the first time when I was 17. Did you guys know that?
I knew
Remember
that.
that?
I knew that.
Mm-hmm. And it was at parties in the park.
She looked 21.
I know, because I was with this guy.
You see, you got that in? She really did look like she was 21.
I had met this guy the night before.
Oh, you meant jam.
and we,
Oh, the band. Oh,
yeah, thanks. So we tooled on down to parties in the park on his motorcycle. And that was the first time I played with them.
Actually, I had met you at Prickly Pear.
Prickly Pear, yeah, we had met.
That's how I
before
met. Yeah,
that.
when you were playing drums 16, 17.
Yeah.
At the last
Yeah.
live jazz session.
Right. That was crazy. Actually, I was like 15. So.
She really did look like she was 21.
Well, I found a picture of Kathy that I want to make sure and put up in my locker at work.
That was my good summer.
As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to keep that.
Yeah, you can keep
Where was the bathrooms now?
Kathy was Lady Gaga before there was a Lady Gaga, so she was big.
Well, you try and show up at a gig as the new drummer, and then G wasn't there. Do you remember that gig where those women were so mad that the blonde girl was there and not G-Man? They were ticked. That was the J.C. Penney's Christmas party gig that we almost had to pimp Sparky out just to keep those women happy.
Right.
They were mad. They did not want the blonde chick.
I'm no longer married to my first wife, who made me quit this, and my second wife loves the band and really encourages me to play this. In fact, we had just gotten together when they got had the gig for opening for Joe Cocker there at Summer Celebration. And Sparky called and said, "Listen, we're getting everybody together. Everybody who ever played, we're bringing you up on stage. Can you do it?" Yeah. Well, he calls me the day before. I mean, it's 5 minutes notice, and that's normal. I said, "Sure, I can do that." And so I came and we did that. And my present wife is now, she was in the audience and she saw me play. And so she claims to everybody we meet, "This is my husband. He's a great piano player. He opened for Joe Cocker." And it's like, I suppose technically I did, and Out of Control did open for Joe Cocker and for Bonnie Raitt and
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson, and you can put that on your resume and say, yeah, I did open for Joe Cocker. Now, Joe Cocker never saw me. I was never on stage with Joe Cocker. He didn't show up until we were all cleaned off the stage and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's working great. So I stumbled upon them playing in some bar here in town. I'm not sure exactly which one, but I'd see him more often at the Pepper Mill downtown. That's where I'd see him, and then sometimes I'd follow him wherever they were going. I just liked the kind of music they were playing, and I was single, and I just loved going out, and so I go listen to them for a while, and then maybe go hit another bar and wander around or do some things like that. And in conversations at the bar, I said I liked what they were doing, and it'd be great if I could sit in sometime or be happy, and we just started talking. And one night down at the Pepper Mill, I loaded up mine, and I had a station wagon, and I had this in the back of it, and I said, well, I got my piano on the car. I was hoping they'd ask, and he said, yeah, sure, come on, bring it in. Okay, and it just kind of started from there. And so I would, I'd just show up. If I had a night where I could and they were playing, and and I wasn't working or doing something, then I just show up.
My dad plays in the Scottville Clown Band now, so I figured it's just safe for me to play with you guys now.
Dale played with us until he got married. He went on his honeymoon, and we had a gig at Bobby's on the Beach or whatever, and we had Tom Schaub fill in for him, and Dale came back, and his wife says, "You are not playing in that band." And so Tom still filled in for him for about 15 years.
Robbie's an amazing harmonica player. I love listening to Rob and Jeff play and sing and do all of that stuff. I like being just part of it, that I was part of it, not so much that I wanted people to listen to me. I liked that blues stuff. You just can't. I don't hear that very much.
Well, this song will fling a craving on you.
doesn't look like it's being used at the moment. Just some idiots up there standing and talking. So we're gonna go take a look behind the scenes at the actual studio for the Special Olympics telethon. Isn't that right, Chris?
That's right, Tom. It's good to have you two here today.
Chris will agree with anything we say. You're kind of an idiot, aren't you, Chris?
Just yes, man, I prefer, Tom. If you will.
Yeah, point taken. Okay. Okay.
Here's an original number.
The other day you won't be sitting, telling tales of things to come. Got out the shorts, do they still fit me? I surely need them when summer comes.
Look what we got. The inventory room here at TCI Cable. This is going to be a real bonanza for those of us that normally don't get in here.
Winners here are lovely, and autumn takes my breath away. Still I put springtime far above these. I can't help but feel this way.
Well, we're back and here to wrap up our inside look at TCI Cablevision Muskegon.
You know, Rob, it's been a long day, and actually I'm kind of tired, but you know, it's a good kind of tired.
And when we make our way home, we'll be nice and warm in our complimentary TCI Cablevision jackets.
We found them in that closet
next to the remote controls in the converter boxes. And tell you what, if you're a little bit hungry, Jim happened to have a box of Girl Scout cookies on his desk.
Golden
So
Nut clusters, so we're gonna take those with us too.
Know that summer's near, baby. I feel fine.
I think Tom doubled our money, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, he had the stones to say the $1,000.
Spring feelings, river running, splashing through my mind. Fed by milk and snows of glitter, leaving in cold and lonely thoughts.
Here's a little original music. Oh, Jeffrey and I wrote it over at McGrath Park. Yeah, baby, yeah.
Couldn't understand me, but I told her she's the one. Walk on a little, so sweet now, so like a child to me. I want to make him sing.
The night that we broke up the fight. Oh, good grief.
Broke up the fight.
Remember the fight?
Oh, I remember Bob walking the guy out by his package one time.
Yeah, I jumped over the drum.
The guy was causing trouble. He went over and he said, "You know what? You're going to have to go." Yeah, well, you're still mouthing off. Bob just reached over. Bob, great big guy. Special Forces guy used to be. Just reached over and went, grabbed him by the package and walked him right out the door. Never had the guy just went along. What could he do?
I don't, the package, what do you mean?
Here, let me show you. I'll start at the tie. We'll go down the tie.
The package.
Robert says, "Fool should have stayed home." What is that from?
What is that?
It's from the Out of Control Post Dispatch.
Yeah, got it.
The Out of Control newsletters. This one's about homie hits the big time when I got my car stolen.
About that news.
Me and Rob's Cutlass, we tight. I can start the sucker quicker than he can.
Is that when they stole your car and used it as a battering ram?
Yeah. Got an ad in there for Jeff's Home Run beer.
It's a hit every time. I was making my own beer, and we were coming up with a label for it, so we decided to call it Jeff's Home Run Beer. It's a hit every time.
I met a little girl down in Mexico. Her hair was dark as the night, baby, and her eyes like the sea were gray. Her love was hot as the Mexican sun. She couldn't understand me. I told her she's the one. Oh, Carmelita, so sweet now, so like a child to me. I want to make you sing. We belong together, you and me. Mr. Tom Schaub on the flute.
Please welcome, straight from the west coast of Michigan, No Name recording artists. They've opened for the likes of Willie Nelson and Bonnie Raitt, only because they were there at the time. Pound for pound, the best band around.
You know, then it was pound for pound, the best band around.
Pound for pound, the best band around. On a mission from God. Please welcome, from the west coast of Michigan, Out of Control.
All right, here's a cast of characters that haven't been together in at least 7 years. We're just remembering why we didn't like each other. What asshole splash. I mean, it sounds good for a porno film, but
some things never change.
just some technical difficulties here. The lead guitar player is stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, the G-Man, Sparky, Kathy, Tom Schaub, Jeffo, Control.
Article about Reverend Jerry Falwell's fall from grace. Quotes Greg Roberts, "Fool should have stayed home."
Funny how time evolved.
Here's a public service announcement. Use a condom, stupid.
For information on Out of Control's whereabouts, just access.
That was the prelude to the modern web. And we kind of funked that up.
Oh, phone porn, but it was phoned corn, and you read the label of a can of cream corn on there.
She's my baby, and I love it just the same. A fine looking old man, California is the name.
That was the fat guy in the fag gig, remember?
Which one was that? Oh.
Well, Rob and I were sitting at the bar, and then somebody came in, and they hadn't seen that we had been playing. And the two of us were sitting there, and they saw equipment on the stage, and they asked us, "Is somebody playing?" And Rob said something about, yeah, there's some fat guy and some fag up there playing. So then we talked to him we laughed about that, talked to him for a little while, and we said, well, we got to go now, and we went back up on stage and started playing.
We played the first ever party in the park. Right?
Yep. Matter of fact, nobody else would play, so we ended up like playing almost all the gigs that year.
Yeah, I don't think.
And on the back of the T-shirt, they listed all the bands that were playing at that.
Oh, that was Summer Celebration.
That was Summer Celebration, that's right. And we were the first one, and our name was the first one on the top of all these other ones.
Well, we played the very first Summer Celebration. We were the headliners the first night of Summer Cell.
And it rained, and we ended up in the
They started off slow.
And now let's get the charming and lovely Kathy Ecker back here. Kathy?
Yeah.
Pow!
Better known tonight as Pink. What's up, Pink?
We ended up, Kathy, Greg was drumming with us, or he was percussing at the time.
Well, King B and the Buzzstones broke up, right?
Right.
Well, what had happened was Timko was playing with us.
He was doing the Raven thing. Somebody's phone.
Yeah.
I was playing with Raven.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, the Raven days.
Well, we had Timko for a while, and then we were switching around drummers, and we had, Tim Jones would do a gig, or Rick Essenberg, or,
Rick Anderson.
Yeah, and Sparky said, they're all great drummers, but they're all different. He says, I want one drummer to play with. And so we were going to do tryouts. And
They just wanted one that could keep a beat, Greg.
That kind of hurt about right there. That kind of tickled right there.
Yeah, that's going to leave a mark.
One person to play with. It's a tradition that the drummer gets rubbed over with oil. I had to do it for years. Now you got to do it.
My brother Jeff was he was in the Navy in the early 70s, and he came back from the Rock, Diego Garcia. And the only thing they had to do there was listen to music and masturbate, and I already knew how to do that. So he brought me back a Bob Marley album. Changed my life. So we were playing that shit, and people go, what the hell is that? We're going, Bob Marley, man. Marley. Hell, he was still alive then.
What was that one we did outside of Grand Rapids, that private company party? We made way too much money.
That was my first gig with the band.
Yeah.
Not that we're saying that money is important, mind you, but
But when you wake up in the morning and you don't know where you are,
well, you got cash.
a couple $100 in there. Yeah, right.
It doesn't grease the wheels of commerce.
Right. Of course, now we had the rule about spouses, so if somebody's spouse was there, you'd go up to him and go, "Here, Jeff, here's your $30." Actually, down at Heritage Landing on the pavilion, there are these brass plaques with all the bands that have played there, and the first 3 or 4 of them were on the top of the list.
I don't think any of us ever had visions of grandeur, okay? There was no, we ought to cut an album or we're going on someplace else. We just had fun playing. We liked the music we were playing, and it wasn't so much that we certainly weren't trying to, make a lot of money or do anything else like that. We just had a lot of fun, and I think that transcended.
who have we opened up for? We opened up for Willie Nelson. We opened up for Michael McDonald.
Bonnie Ray.
Joe Cocker.
BTO.
I remember that. At the LC Walker Arena, remember that? Oh, you weren't there.
Couldn't see. Yeah,
You couldn't make it.
Yeah.
We never sounded better. I don't know.
We had to feel our way to our instruments, though. Remember that? We were all feeling real cool before we walked down, and then we got on the stage, and there was so much fog, we couldn't see anything.
That's the excuse that we
fog machine.
Okay. Oh.
It's still Sparky's size. Can you imagine that fit me?
That is still Sparky's size.
Look at that. Have you never seen that one?
No.
The Duct tape and milk crate tour?
That's awesome.
It's the only one left.
The other ones are like car rags.
I have it.
Only if you model it. Only if you model it for us.
Right now.
I think the music too. What I always thought was kind of interesting. We had a couple original tunes that Jeff and Rob wrote along. Back 28 years ago. They hadn't written any for a long time. But we had tunes that were out of control tunes that there's no other band in the country plays Opportunity by the Busboys, but we played it more than they have, I'm sure. But as far as no one ever had heard that song before they heard it from us, and as far as I was concerned, before I was in the band, that was an out of control tune.
That was the hardest tune
It's a killer
ever
tune.
for me to learn, was Opportunity.
So there's obscure tunes that we found on the B side of singles or whatever, 3 or 4 of those. You Need Me.
That's a flip
You
side.
Need Meat?
Yeah, You Need Me.
Go to
It was a tune by The Doors
I think that was
that nobody
before
ever
my
heard
time.
before because
Out
it
of
never
control.
made it anywhere. But we played it.
About 12 years ago, something happened, but we're going to call it 10 years ago. 10 years ago, a band started by the name of Out of Control with the motto that we're going to play what the hell we like. And it has worked in this town. And we have fun. And we have fun. And we would like to thank you and toast to you because you have made it work. We're going to do it 10 more years, so let's hear it for the crowd.
This is a certificate of care at a chiropractic clinic. It's for Rob Schweifler. This is so difficult because he never carried anything. I had to do it all. It says no lifting heavy sound reproduction equipment. He is able to carry large amounts of money. Oh! I was so mad about that.
That was on our dressing room with Summer Salt.
Well, no, it was actually on my bass drum, and I was so mad. It was like my second summer playing with the band, and Rob called me princess on stage, and I was so mad because I wanted people to take me seriously, and that wasn't gonna happen. So, but then when Bonnie Raitt said on stage, she said princess, so I thought, well, that's okay. Okay, the princess thing will stick, and I don't really care about being taken seriously.
Not anymore.
No.
She gave that up.
Yeah, that's too hard.
We wore Hawaiian shirts for a long time. I remember we'd do that, and then a lot of people that came to listen to us started wearing Hawaiian
Why
shirts.
did we wear Hawaiian?
I don't know how we ever started.
Then Jimmy Buffett heard about it, and then he started.
He ripped us off.
Yeah. Well, Rob and I used to go around and we would play every once in a while in a bar, and they would just give us some free drinks. We had no equipment or anything like that. At the VIP, we'd bring our guitars in. And I remember saying, do you mind if we just practice for a little while in here? And they would say, no, sure, go ahead, and we'd start playing. And people would start liking it. And we'd go over to their table and play for them for a while, and pretty soon the bar owner's going, this is pretty cool, people are liking this. So he started giving us our drinks for free. So we would do that.
It's the campfire thing.
Well, the thing was, Jeff and I would be sitting around. Let's go to the bar. I don't have any money. I don't either. Let's grab our guitars.
We got guitars, though.
play. Like
talk.
Like you know what?
Talk, baby, talk.
No.
Not anymore. No, not anymore.
Oh, are you gonna have a fit?
You're all done.
I am.
Fit now.
Get the princess sign. Put it right on her.
My face is so fat. Sparky, is my face fat? And he always tells it different. Now tell your story.
Oh, I thought you said, do these jeans make my butt look
No,
fat?
that's so cliche.
You said, no, it's your fat butt that makes your butt look fat. That's a question for your husband. I don't have
that
to
make my butt look fat.
Did something.
You know, I remember Chris Zard, Andrew Zard.
Yeah.
He was like, 14 or something, and Chris was, Andrew's really interested in, the theater and music and sound, and, if he could just kind of hang out with you. And I remember we played the Tall Ships Festival.
Yeah.
And Chris shows up.
I still have the T-shirt.
And Chris shows up right when Andrew was 50, mixing up rum and coke in the back for Rob or something. It's like she shows up. It's like, oh yeah, you're teaching them all right.
At Westside?
Yeah, I went to throw, how I throw the tambourine
Yeah.
and catch it?
Yeah.
Well, I threw it up and it hit his head
How did I
first.
miss that?
How did I miss it?
We never go from one song to the next. There's no, you go see some bands and it's, one set, and we're going to the next number and right into the next one. Crap, we'd never do that. It'd stop and Robbie'd have to talk for 20 minutes in between each one and tell some story. And here, let's do this one. No, how about this? And we'd do something else and we'd say, no, okay. No, I don't want to play that one. Okay. And then we'd go into some other song. So I think the audience kind of liked that. Sometimes it was a pain in the butt. It's like, you guys just play it.
For me and my baby went out late Saturday night.
We would just play all these gigs and all these other serious musicians, and guys would just shake their head like,
Yeah.
how are you guys playing and getting all the gigs? And these guys are studied music and all this kind of stuff, and we would end up putting stupid hats on and just playing for it. And it was just amazing.
We did an anniversary party where we wore shorts and long underwear.
And fish ties. Remember the Halloween party where we were all doctors?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm the only guy I know that owned his own nurse's uniform. I put on that nurse's uniform. I looked so good, I bought it. And Nurse Goodbody. How's your flow?
Nurse Goodbody.
How's your flow?
Yeah,
Linoleum. Linoleum. That's how my flow is. Linoleum.
I was the bone doctor.
We did let other people come in and play. And so musician-wise, other musicians like to come to hear Out of Control because then they'd sit in with you. Floyd would come and sing Teddy Bear. And, if he was in the audience, you'd bring him up and do that.
Yeah. We're gonna go to Tupelo. Go on, fool! We're going to Tupelo now. Check this out. Baby,
know, there were just other guys. Other guys that come in, they'd show up. Oh yeah, bring them in. We're gonna play this one with them because they knew how to play that song, and you know, it was the whole thing. It was fun to do it like that.
Give it up for Mr. And I mean Mr. Doug Hausman.
Now I've traveled lots of towns all these years on my own. Surely seems by now I would have found somewhere to call home. Instead of being on the highway all the time, I should be lying in some woman's arms, somebody that loves me. Now I've been needed and mistreated. The Lord knows I felt left out, lying under some interstate highway somewhere down south. But that's all right with me, 'cause I'm happy for what I've done. I guess I'll go on living, looking for whatever comes. And I'm wondering as the days go by, my oh my, why it is that I just drift from town to town. Wondering as the days go by, and I wonder why I ain't yet come to settle down. Why I ain't yet come to settle down.
Mr. Doug Hausman.
So
we had a lot of friends who were musicians too, you know, Matt Van Bemelen and just a lot of others, Rod Schaub and Mole, the Mole, Glenn Perry, and you know, just anybody who happened to be around, or if they knew we were playing somewhere, they might bring their axe, whatever instrument they played with them, and they'd sit in and play. And my aspect, you know, my thought about it was, if they sounded like crap, they made us sound better. If they sounded really good, everybody liked it, so we couldn't lose, you know.
Big Pete, we had him cook up ribs.
Oh, yeah. The tender ones is on the bottom.
Yeah. How do you make the ribs so good, Pete? You gotta kiss the meat first.
This place right here, more problems and more things were solved right here where we're at. Or more things were started right here.
Remember when we played the Heights Festival one year and Jeff was busting out rhymes there? The people in the Heights, we know we love your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, love your car, love the scar that you got in the bar.
Grab yourself a knife, stab your wife, go to prison for the rest of your life. And I'm doing all this in the Heights. I was hiding behind the equipment while I was doing the rap, because they had this rap thing going where anybody could rap. They had the beat in the background. And I started doing it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the bee?
Yeah, the bee.
The bee flew up Jeff's
shorts.
Stung him in the package. Yeah, we shut down a few bars.
Literally. and opened up them.
Yeah. But even though we're not playing, you know, regular, we'll still play a little bit. And really, the spirit of Out of Control exists anywhere that people are together, laughing so hard the stuff comes out of their nose, you know.
That's true.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.